Hey, friend. Welcome to How I Became Your Mother. I am Kalila Black, and this is where my past meets my future as I share my story with my future child as if they're already listening. Okay, so where am I right now? What's going on? It is the last couple of weeks have been insane, like insane. I got a job in Toronto, and the day I was landing or flying to Toronto, I realized I had booked another job that had me back in LA for the next couple of weeks. So I was flying back and forth on my days off from the show to go film. And that's why I didn't have last week's episode out, but I'm sticking through it. You know, I was even upset that this didn't upload earlier today, but I had to do some grace work on myself. Like, girl, you've been doing a lot. You've been having 3 jobs because whole time, not only are you working with the Lion King and this other digital product, you are also still caregiving, still training, still facilitating mommy going to her different appointments and her hair and her care and her food and her clothes and her beauty, and still doing all of that from Toronto. So forgive me for the lack, but I'm committed to this podcast. I'm committed to getting my thoughts out, and thank y'all. I'm feeling a little bit tired, a little bit nervous, but a little bit excited. Like, I'm nervous because I feel like I've never heard these thoughts from anyone before. And I know that's like, duh, they're your thoughts, but it's just me feeling like, yikes. And but I know for a fact that I want my children, I want you, my baby, to at least have this perspective to choose from, because the way this world is set up, sometimes you can get lost in the general perspective and be thinking like, oh, because most people will feel like this, it must be either truth or conducive and supportive for me to also adopt that thought. And that don't always be the case, like especially when it pertains to things like this. So what made me want to record this episode was actually I was having a conversation with Chat GPT, and I have to say that slowly because I've been calling it Chat GBT for dumb long. Because black, like, how you know how we be saying different things, you know what I mean? Like, so I was saying GBT, Chat GBT is Chat GPT. Either way, I've been working with the AI app and I've been having so much success. I really feel like it was the reason why I was able to get this podcast off the ground, recording it, producing it, editing it, finding a platform, just self-producing it. I feel like I know I would not have been able to do it without Chat GPT. And I've been letting it in on my feelings, my goals, my desires, my dreams, what I'm working on. So after that, I had asked it like, okay, what are some of my blind spots? Like, based off of what you know of me, give me some blind spots, right? Like, let me know. And she read me. And that reading sparked this episode. So basically, one of the blind spots she said was, you are being a mirror instead of a flame. And you're magnetic. She basically said, you're magnetic and you reflect others' desires, pain, hope, and dreams so clearly. But what about your fire? Sometimes you get caught in reflecting instead of just radiating. The world wants to see your unfiltered fire, your messy, sensual, weird, radical, rule-breaking you-ness. No translation needed. And then she said, if your content or offerings feel too polished or your podcast voice too curated, that's the flame asking to blaze. And I said, okay, girl. What I interpreted that is, say what you really want to say. Say the real truths that you want to say to your babies. And not to say that any of the previous episodes wasn't my real truth, but I'm consistently balancing between what is palatable and what is real. And this may not be palatable. But it may be, and that's not even my concern. Well, my concern is, this is my platform. Do y'all hear me? Trying to convince myself, but it's working. My concern is that this is my platform, and that's what's the tea. So anyway, this is an episode about cancel culture, and I think that cancel culture lends to a bigger umbrella around forgiveness, around worth, around the contribution to the culture. And I think that this is important. And I feel like as a person who's grown up in cancel culture, for those of you guys who listen and who may not know, but cancel culture, the way I have looked it up is cancel culture is a social phenomenon where individuals, institutions, or companies are publicly shamed, ostracized, or boycotted for actions or statements deemed offensive and unacceptable. This can lead to the withdrawal of support, employment, or even social standing. The term cancel implies a complete severing of ties or support for the targeted individual or entity. Then it continues to go on about public shaming, how that works, withdrawal of support, social and professional isolation, moral panic, purpose and debate, right? Like it just talks about it. And the main impetus of this conversation has to do with a conversation I was having around with my friends. So I have like many friends, like many friend groups. I just pick the best people to support and be in my life, and they be riding. So I was with one of my friend groups, my theater friend groups out here in LA, and we were all just talking and vibing after one of our mastermind meetings, or one of our many meetings. And last year the conversation around Diddy came up, and around his transgressions and what has happened. And you know, as a New Yorker, as a New Yorker raised under Diddy, under Bad Boy, under the influence of him in my life and in my culture, this has been very, very difficult to experience from the sidelines. And obviously, I'm not one of the women who, I'm not anybody that was directly involved, but I'm just talking about as a consumer, as a member of this generation who was at least musically, phonetically raised by Diddy. It is heartbreaking, and it is very, like, it feels like splitting your soul in two, right? So we were talking about, well, first let me give some context as to why I think my generation as millennials are so fast to cancel, because this is kind of new. Like, I'm gonna go back to reminding everyone that we are the Scorpio, the Pluto in Scorpio generation. Pluto is in the sign of Scorpio while we were born and raised, and it's a very all or nothing type of thing. Scorpio is also about burning things down, getting to the root of it, cutting it, digging, continuing to find what's going on. It's also about other people's resources, other people's stuff. So Scorpios are very much concerned with what somebody else got going on and how that can affect them or themselves. So I think that because of the fact that we are so fast to point out what is going on wrong, or what we think, it sometimes feels like throwing the baby out with the bathwater, right? Like, I'll say this. So whenever I am thinking about, like, as a human, as a person, like, especially me as a creative, as an actor, a person who, the way that I contribute to the world is through my arts, is through my gifts. Like, that's how I contribute. One of the ways that I contribute. I think about how Diddy has contributed to my life, and also like millions of other people's lives, based off of what kind of music he produced, what experiences were created. Like, I think about going to 106 in Park, and I think about all the songs. I think about the Bad Boy concert. I think about how much armor I had being from New York City, going to other places, because of the pride that I got being affiliated because of a lot of the work that Diddy did, right? So I want to just talk about my own personal experience. Bad Boys music, I mean, I'm talking about Diddy, Faith Evans, Little Kim, Little C's, Junior Mafia, Craig Mack, Shine, all of the bad boy people. Those songs were there for me in all of the moments of my adolescence. I'm talking about when I was going through heartbreak and I was going through personal, like, familial problems with my mom, going through what she was going through with her addictions, and like going up with growing pains, figuring out figuring out who I was as a kid, as a 12-year-old, like finding my way. Also, I used to go to the teen club. So there was a teen club called Focus, and there was also one called the Skate Key. They was mad close to each other, and we used to go there every Friday. It was $5. It was no drinking, no nothing, because it was a teen club, and we used to go ham. And looking back on that time, I realized that dancing, that celebrating, I'm talking about, we was going in there sweating, dancing. That was like my cleansing of the week. That was my cleansing of not feeling welcomed in my high school, not feeling worthy, not feeling like I was a true actor, not feeling like I was getting it, not feeling connected at home. Just that dancing, that like ritualistic going out, I was able to release. I was able to connect with my friends. I was able to, I'm also, I'm a dancer. So I just think about that contribution, my own personal, the Diddy and Bad Boy's own contribution to my personal life, right? So I think about that, and that is on a small scale. So I think about that, and then I multiply that by the amount of people, who's on my phone? Who's on my phone? Just by the amount of people in New York, and then in the, on the East Coast, and on the tri-state, because the tri-state was always hanging on to the tri-state, was always on our New York stuff. Like, NYJ was New Jersey was definitely rocking with the New York stuff. They was holding that armor down too. So I think about that, right? Then on top of that, I think about the direct contributions that him and his choices, I'm talking about professionally, him and his choices have made professionally. So I'm thinking about all of the people's jobs he influenced and created. I'm thinking about the philanthropic endeavors, thinking about the children he put through college, all of the organizations that he donated to or facilitated, just thinking about a global, like, if we're talking about our place on earth, right? So we're saying we all come to earth to contribute. We all come here to do what we can with our gifts and leave a mark. And I personally think that in order to weigh what your success on this planet, you have to weigh your contribution. I personally think that nobody, like, that's the reason why I feel like only God can judge, because only God knows all of the value that every single walk and step is in your life. Okay, if y'all still listening and if y'all twisting up your face, I'm sorry. I hope that I'm being articulate. I'm going to keep on going. But I want to turn it into what that translates to me. So when we think about when we say to somebody like, you, based off of these acts that you've done, all of the rest of your contribution is invalid, right? What we're saying is that at any moment, what we're saying is that we're putting a finite value on energetic contribution, and I think that that's impossible, because if I go back and I'm like, okay, when we cancel somebody, we're saying what you've done is paid, what you are what you represent is paid, what you have done is paid, and your clip, like, it's paid. So then I'm like, okay, so if we're saying that Diddy should have never existed, Diddy should have never had access to doing that, Diddy should have never done anything, let's go back to the butterfly effect. Let's rewind that back. Let's rewind all of the contribution. Let's rewind all of the careers he's affected. Let's also rewind all of our personal contribution and say, let's take it away. And I'm like, no, we can't do that. Now, what I'm going to say is he deserves the appropriate amount of I guess, like, his consequences. So the consequences of him abusing, him just the wicked things that he did, I believe that he belongs in jail. Like, I believe that makes sense that he is in jail. What I'm saying is that our generation says, okay, because of that act, now we're going to rewind everything that you've done, everything, and rewind the contribution. And I feel like that gives us a mixed signal, because everything that we do for ourselves, everything that we project onto others, all of the rules and everything that we project onto each other goes for ourselves. So to me, that makes it seem like if tomorrow I do something. First of all, we're all human beings. We all make mistakes. We all are sinners. Hey, Ryan Coogler, period. Because it feels very religious. It feels very, when I think of cancel culture, it feels very much reminiscent of how I was growing up in the church, when it's like, if you do this, you're going to hell. Like, if you wear this skirt, you're going to hell. If you gamble, you're going to hell. If you curse, you're going to hell. If you do this, you're going to hell. And it's like, we are not we're not the judge. We're not the judge and the juror. We're not the judge and the juror. And we also, I think, as a collective, can have a more nuanced way of interacting. So in the nuance, I feel like this. Because of what we, like, the way, okay, I think that canceling someone should be a personal choice. That's the difference. I don't think that it should be a part of the culture. And what I'm saying is this, like, when we canceled R. Kelly, it became a whole cultural, social thing where it was like, you should not be listening to this man's music. And if you do listen to this man's music, you will be side-eyed. You will have judgment. People will judge you. I personally feel like you should only listen to the music if you can still reconcile with that. Like, if you can reconcile with that. Like, listening to, what is it? Let's Get It and bad boy. Listening to those songs take me back to Focus. It's to the Focus, the club where I was at. It takes me back to dancing with my friends. It takes me back to toe whopping. It takes me back to shaking. It literally brings me joy. It brings me back to that nostalgic place. It doesn't make me think of him doing what he was doing behind the scenes. If listening to his stuff or listening to any of those people brings bad memories, connects you with things that doesn't feel good in your heart, I think that that's up to you to not listen to it. I think you should only be listening to things that make you feel good. But what I'm saying is that sometimes you get to that point of being like, oh no, I can't listen to it because of what others are saying, because of what other people are saying, because of what we're looking for. And for me, I have my own personal opinions around celebrities and musicians getting flack for personal lives, because it's the only career where that works. It's the only career where it's like, oh my God, you made this fire song that's a bop, that inspired me, that got me through my breakup, that got me out the club, but you was cheating on your homegirl, so I'm not listening to that. If a scientist creates a cure for something, we don't even know if he was beating his wife on the side. If a bus driver. Comes to all we care about this bus driver is him driving that bus and picking us to the stop. We're not going to see if he was a good father. We're not going to see if he was a good son. Like, that's not how it works. So I feel like I also feel like we should be judged based off of what our contribution was. Did you create the songs? Did you make records? Did you open doors for other people? Did you put people on? Did you create careers? Did you share your money? Did you spread it? Did you sow seeds? Us canceling, and when I think, and I keep thinking about canceling as if like erasing this person's existence. I'm like, there's tons of more people who are also in jail, who have had less contribution, less positive. What I'm talking about is positive contribution. If we're talking about weighing the scales and we're like, okay, let's see how much of a good person you are, let's see how much of a bad person you are. I'm not saying to erase anything that he's done negatively. What I'm saying is, with cancel culture, you could have been doing, I just feel like with cancel culture, it is inaccurate, and it's like salacious. It's like, we need to, it almost feels like we were bamboozled. So now, because I thought you was good, I'm not going to mess with you. Versus like, the good that you thought he was the same good. You was bopping to them songs. Them songs are still a bop. He don't owe you nothing but them songs. He owed Cassie something. He owed his wife, his children, he owed them something, and that's up to them to do that. But as a consumer, as a person who bought his music, the product was still a product. So I feel like, first of all, as what I want to tell you as my kid is, all of your discernment, all of your own personal choices should come from your own inner being, from your own intuition, for how that works for you. Please do not allow yourself to be bullied into damning someone, into judging someone, into doing the very thing that we as Christians, we as people who are spiritual, people who understand that humans will human. Like, that's the very definition of we're limited. We have those parts of ourselves that act from ego. We have those parts of ourselves. And please, I'm not trying to absolve anyone, because what he karma, God, they're never wrong. What I'm trying to say again is that the discernment, cancel culture takes out personal discernment, and it allows us to be lazy with how and where we place our energy. Okay. Let me ground myself. Okay, go back to your notes, girl, because you get passionate. Okay, what wisdom am I holding on to? Is there anything about cancel culture that you want to keep? Okay, so I personally, like I said before, have an issue with public opinion, because anytime you group people into one thing, there's going to be some inaccuracies, because we're all so nuanced. Public opinion is the same opinions that work on racism and prejudices. It's saying that because of this, because you did this automatically means that, and you're automatically that. That is, public opinion cannot be made on intuition, because it's outward. And intuition is our first and only leader. It should be the only thing that we're following. We should individually say whether or not it's a yay or a nay. And and who knows, like two years down the line, maybe I'll see too much more propaganda on it, and I'll play one of his songs and it'll make my stomach turn. In that moment, I know, okay, he's canceled for me. But maybe 2 more years down the line, I will hear a Craig Mack song and it'll remind me of this, and I'll be like, okay, it's fine. I'm just saying that there shouldn't be any finites, especially as it pertains to another human being's life. That's not my gig. I'm not God. I'm worried about myself. I don't know where I just turned into B. Simone, but that cadence is always funny to me. Okay. Because it is from an intuitive place, this means that we're typically expressing ourselves from ego, and it's not a spiritually informed place. This is our judgment. I'll say another thing, another example of public opinion and how it can like cloud judgment and discernment. So earlier this year, after the U.S., the United States of America, welcomed Donald Trump back to the office, there was some highlighting in the news about the planes falling out of the sky, right? And my friends and I, we were sitting down chatting, and one of them said this is the only thing that made me jump, because I typically, when there's like when people are talking about news and things that feel like brainwashy, I tend to like stay away from them. I just act like I don't hear it and just let them keep talking, and then I'll just chill, because I'm like, they want to drink the Kool-Aid, they can drink the Kool-Aid, it's cool. But sometimes when people say stuff, it'd be hard for me to just shut up. And one of the statements were, y'all, they saying it's more dangerous to fly now than to drive. Now, I'm a very, very like logical person, and when I think of things, like sometimes I have like a science brain, I have like a math brain, like I be calculating where the sun is gonna be at certain times, like in order to sit well, like I'm thinking immediately. So my mind immediately with that statement goes to ratios, because that's how you know if one is more or one is less. I'm like, my nigga, there's no way in the world that even if every plane fell out the sky that went out of JFK in one day, there's no way that it would still be more dangerous to fly than it is to drive, just based off of the quantity of cars there are. So I'm like, even if what you meant to say was that, oh my God, stuff is getting shaky out there, the public opinion, what's going on around now is that people are literally being afraid to fly because the news is telling everybody, or the information that the news is saying is making people surmise that it is more dangerous to fly. So we talk about it. I'm like, come on now, y'all are wilding. Like, and so like I said something like back to it, and they was like, nah, like they were saying that, you know, he's not doing the right thing, so he's sending the signals, and the signals is having a skank, the plane's falling down. And I'm like, so then I started getting like, dag, like I know that ratio is off, but maybe they have something to it. Like maybe they have something to it. We leave later on that night, I'm scrolling, and there's some propaganda around it, and they was like, this woman, black woman, who was like, can y'all stop doing this? Can y'all stop highlighting what's going on in the news? I went back to last year, and it's the exact same amount of plane accidents this time as it was last year this time. And then she had the receipts and showing it, and I'm like, I know. I'm like, obviously not that his reign, his taking over the office doesn't have like an immediate effect. That's not what I'm trying to say. But what I'm trying to say is the public, like the scare tactics and the news tactics and the like propaganda of all of the social sites and the gossip sites and the actual news platforms saying things is cap. It be bigged up. And I was able to see that there, and it made me really sad, because I'm like, well, first of all, past that. So I didn't even come back to the group chat to be like, y'all, look, like, because I feel like sometimes I be sounding, I just know that I'm off, because then they had asked me like, okay, what do you feel about this? Or what do you feel about this? And I'm like, y'all, like, this is cap. We're ingesting. It's just so weird to me. People, we don't trust the news. We don't trust the powers that be. We don't trust the government, yet we take what they say for fact, and we gonna run with it, and we gonna get scared. Because why? Well, we're upset that Donald's in office. we're upset that that it's an idiot up there. So now it makes sense. Okay, because this idiot's up there, we are all doomed. Okay, because this idiot's up there, the planes is falling out the sky, we're all dying, the end of the world. And it's like, y'all, that is cat. That's what the public is saying. Public is dumb. That's why the public needs rearing. It's the individual thoughts. It's the people that can reason, that can say, wait, what's going on? Well, what's going on is these signals has been happening and blah 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 blah, and because of this like once the facts were coming in, right? I also feel this passionate because I think that because Black culture, so much of what African American culture, I'm not talking about Black diasporic culture, diasporic, I'm not talking about Black diasporic culture, I'm talking about African American culture. Because African American culture was bred on trauma and overcoming trauma, we find comfort in calling it like it is before we see it. It's like, okay, we already know these people gonna play us, so this is what's happening, this is how they playing us, this is how y'all better watch out. Y'all done got, like, we would rather know the foolishness ahead of time, call it out, be prepared for it, and expect it. And that is it's a defense mechanism that definitely served our ancestors, it served our elders, it served its purpose, because at one point in time, everywhere you looked around, everybody was out to get you. At one point in time, more people was actually not on your side than are on your side. But at this juncture, as we're saying that we want to be free thinking, expansive individuals, it's just really important that we put our thinking caps on. Like, it's important to be able to read propaganda and be like, oh, this is propaganda, or oh, this is, but to be walking around and we got like college graduates, doctorate people feeling like it's equivalent, it's equally dangerous to fly than it is to drive, and you got people that we are driving, like brilliant people feeling like that. That is, to me, indicative of the power of the culture. And I think that following the culture in the cancel way is just the opposite of being self-aware. It's the opposite of having your own brain. And don't get me wrong, I am a trendy woman. So, like, I'm not even the anti-girl that's like, oh my God, like, what are you guys doing? Like, I want to be myself. Like, I don't want to be off on no side. I want to consume the best books, the most popular books. I'm reading Matriarch right now. I want to go where the popular stuff is. Like, I love going to the most popular festivals and popping clubs. Like, I like to be around people. I like when the public knows what they're talking about. But when it comes to canceling a human being, when it comes to saying someone's worth, I think that it's just important for you to be able to have that discernment when yourself, and to also know what your meter is. So yeah, like, I'm not going to cancel someone whose contribution still brings me joy. I'm not going to cancel someone whose contribution still gets me hype in the gym, because that's shooting myself in the foot. Now I'm the one without the memories. Now I'm the one without the stuff. It's not worth it for me. This man hopefully will either rot in jail or get whatever he needs, get whatever he deserves as it pertains to that part of his life. But as it pertains to his musical contribution, which is the only thing that I've really ever interacted with him for, I'm going to do as I please and as it works for my life. It's almost like if you knew that the Golden Gate Bridge designer killed his mom, are we gonna blow up the Golden Gate Bridge? Like, it just doesn't give. It just doesn't give, and it just doesn't give. Okay, next. Okay, so what are you grateful for? What are you grateful for? What part of you are you learning to love? Okay, so I'm After this, I'll say this. I'm learning to love the unique ways that I perceive things. I'm learning to love the separation I sometimes feel from the masses. I'm learning to love being a human being and also a spiritual person. And once I learn how to feel better, I know that those thoughts better served me, because how you feel will determine what you attract. And especially as I navigate an industry that I'm still within, the entertainment industry, it's my job to have a healthy relationship with the entertainment industry if that's where I want to proceed. It's actually counterintuitive for me to ingest and to ruminate over things that are not supportive, because that's only going to create obstacles for me as I see fit as I move forward. And I don't like, for me, it's not a situation of like ignoring or ignorance is bliss, because those are the thoughts that's coming up. So I'm thinking that those may be some thoughts that's coming up for you. But once I realize that this life is all about perception, it's really just all about how you perceive things, how it works for you individually, I'm like, oh, okay. So I just have to interact. I have to say, this is what I'm choosing to be dealing with in my circle, and how am I going to make this either exceptional for me or leave? How am I going to have a good relationship with the entertainment industry? I'm not going to talk about how shady it is and how everybody's going down and then still be trying to be a successful person and actor. It's just not, it's not supportive of my vision. It's paid. There's evil people all over the world. It's evil people all up and through. That's just how it works. I also, it's been my goal ever since I started meditating in 2020 is just, I want to be more spiritually sound, more godly. I want to look from a space of stepping back, look from a space of compassion, look from a space of grace. And that to me looks like leaving the punishing and damning to the people who are in control of that. And that is not me. I did not sign up this lifetime to determine whether or not someone lives or dies, or life crumbles down, and I don't want that. That's not my goal. Right here is to produce, and I'm going to use whatever I take. My goal is to produce and to be in contribution, and whatever helps me do my thing is what's going to do that. And sometimes it might be Harlem shaking to reasonable wallet, get smacked. It might be that. And for you, baby, I'm going to speak to you, my child. Hey, boop boop. I want you to know that in this house, in our family, we lead with love, grace, and the understanding of the human experience. We lead with wisdom of our own capabilities and our own capacities, and we make our own individual decisions. We separate ourselves from people or things that interfere with our own intuition. We research and we learn for ourselves if something doesn't feel right. And if something doesn't feel right, we find something that feels better. You are in control of your perception. You are in control of what you ingest. So make sure that it is healthy and supportive. Okay, that was as hard. That was hard. But I'm gonna keep talking about stuff. That was hard. Okay, let's move on to my other vulnerability door thing, which is, let's do the soul question. We're gonna do another question of 36 questions to fall in love. And keep going. So this one is, name 3 things you and your partner appear to have in common. Okay, so typically we're supposed to be doing this with a partner. So now that I'm doing it with you, my boo boo, I'm going to talk about you. I know that you are going to be vibrant. Vibrant. My mama was vibrant. I'm vibrant. You gonna be vibrant. I also know you are going to be charming. It's something, it's just this, it's an additional gift, I think, like the charm, the that, je ne sais quoi that has people pleased to be around you and to see you. It just adds to the experience. It's a really beautiful experience to be charming. And I think that there was a large part of my life where I didn't value it. It's just like, leave me alone. Like, people be randomly talking to you and you be like, can y'all? But knowing that it's a power, knowing that it's a gift to be someone's comfort space, and I can always say no if I don't want to, engage. I know you getting that too, baby. I also know that you are spiritually connected. And I know that because you're already in my womb. That's crazy. You in my womb right now. You spiritually connected. As I'm saying this to you. That's crazy. Wow. Okay. If you only remember one thing, I want you to remember that your guidance comes from God. And God speaks to you through your emotions, through your intuition. So you will know how to hear him. You will know how to engage with him. You will know how to navigate with his guidance. And I want you to remember that he's the one that's going to guide you. Not necessarily your thoughts, not necessarily what your friends are saying, not even necessarily what your loved ones, like friends, families, homies, down. Everybody could be riding. This is how we thinking. It comes from within. You are the boss. You are the driver. Okay, now, thank y'all for listening to me. Thank you for being a part of this. This was hard. I know it doesn't feel like it was hard, and maybe like it's not gonna sound like that, but this was difficult. This is like the first time I've ever shared such an arbitrary, what I would call an arbitrary view. Not arbitrary. What's that word? Opposing view, I guess. Okay. Yeah, opposing view. So thank y'all for being a part of this moment. I would love if you could leave 5-star reviews. Just explain it. Even if it's like, yo, she be saying some wow stuff. It's entertaining. Or maybe it's, I never thought of it like that. Kalila, you're so interesting. Or maybe it's, girl, you be funny. You know, whatever it is, leave me a cute little review. Okay? I'm committed to this, and I love you. And to you, baby girl, baby boy, I want you to know that whenever you hear this, just know I was thinking of you. I was learning, growing, and preparing a world for you to thrive in. And I cannot wait to see who you've become. You my Pookie Bear. And it's, even if the other people don't bang with me, I know you banging with your mama. All right, I'll see you next time. Later. Oh, remember, like, review, subscribe, all of that. Bangity bang bang.